This will make diehard Bitcoiners uncomfortable, but we could be looking at a future 20 years from now where Bitcoin treasury companies own as much as half of all the Bitcoin in the world. Strategy would be half of that, which would mean they would hold $70 trillion of Bitcoin, and that would make them the most valuable company in the history of the world by a huge margin. What Strategy is doing and what Metaplanet has succeeded in doing in Japan is that these entities are going to be the preferred vehicles through which TradFi capital is going to flow into Bitcoin. And again, it's powered by Bitcoin, so that's why no fiat instrument can match it. And Strategy will inevitably win market share over time in the money market landscape.
Let me break this down for my fellow Bitcoiners. In just 8 weeks, I've seen a serious shift. More strength, more energy, and fast muscle gains. The reason? Fitscript. They ran 124 biomarkers, blood, hormones, inflammation, and built a fully custom plan: nutrition, training, supplements. No guesswork, no templates. This is functional medicine meets precision fitness for high-performing men who want sovereignty over their health. If you care about optimization the way you care about your money, test, don't guess. Don't trust, verify. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to check out Fitscript and see what's possible. You opted out of the broken financial system by adopting Bitcoin and taking self-custody of your money. But protecting your wealth is only part of the equation. Now it's time to protect your freedom. My family is stacking sats and stacking flags. A second passport is our hedge against government overreach and uncertainty. If you're a Bitcoiner looking for your exit strategy, our friends at Citizen X will help you secure second citizenship through investment or descent. Book your free call today by hitting the link in the show notes or simply scanning the QR code on the screen.
What I am uniquely bullish about, especially on this panel, it seems, is Bitcoin treasury companies. I think that, my thesis, having dug into, what Strategy is doing and what Metaplanet has succeeded in doing in Japan, is that these entities are going to be the preferred vehicles through which TradFi capital is going to flow into Bitcoin. And that's the maturation of Bitcoin as an asset. And these companies are, entrepreneurially creating the products to attract capital into Bitcoin. And I think the best example of this is what Strategy has done over the last year, which is creating these preferred equity instruments, which are really designed to appeal to fixed income capital. We talked earlier about if you're holding a 10-year T-bill, you're getting 4.5%, 5%. And really any bondholder, risk adjusted, is getting mid-single digit returns. And then here comes Strategy that's offering 8 to 10% a year, wrapped up in effectively a fixed income product offering. And it just happens to be powered by Bitcoin. Right? And that's because Saylor believes that Bitcoin will continue to grow at a CAGR of 30 to 50% a year. And he's happy to pay 10% a year in order to get more capital to buy Bitcoin, knowing it's going to grow way faster than that obligation. And so that little anecdote, that's a microcosm of what's going on with Bitcoin treasury companies. They are going out into each capital market in the world, building their balance sheets, and then coming up with ways to attract more capital. I think the end state for, in every capital market will be a leading Bitcoin treasury company with a large enough balance sheet to justify creating preferred equities, and then really targeting the fixed income market in particular. Strategies now also targeting the money market, with their stretch product offering 9% a year, which no money market fund can match. And again, it's powered by Bitcoin. So that's why no fiat instrument can match it. And Strategy will inevitably win market share over time in the money market landscape because of this advantage. And the net of that is that, Strategy is hoovering up all that capital, but it's putting it into Bitcoin. And yeah, it sits on the balance sheet of a centralized entity. But I think that's the economic reality of how Bitcoin is going to help accelerate the osmotic flow of capital from TradFi analog store value buckets on that global asset landscape chart and into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin treasury companies are effectively capital pumps that are sticking little straws into the pools of capital in these analog buckets, and trying to siphon that away, trying to pump that capital out of those buckets and into Bitcoin through these entities. And Ben, if you want to pull up that chart there of when I put together a thread 3 months ago, really a presentation about what I think could be the scale of what's going on here, and this will make diehard Bitcoiners uncomfortable, but I think it's the possible reality of what we're looking at here. That right now, Bitcoin treasury companies own a very small percentage of total Bitcoin, but if the dynamics that I described are true and play out over the next 10 to 20 years, we could be looking at a future 20 years from now where Bitcoin treasury companies own as much as half of all the Bitcoin in the world, specifically because they have been the conduits through which lots of fixed income capital from the bond market has flowed into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin treasury companies have been the biggest bidders for Bitcoin. Like who is going to be bidding for Bitcoin when Bitcoin's $5 million per coin? I think the biggest bidder in the world is going to be Strategy, because they just unlocked the next $1 trillion of fixed income capital, and they're going to indiscriminately be buying Bitcoin with that capital. I don't know how big this sector will end up being, but I think it could end up being half of all Bitcoin. And if that's true, and if Bitcoin goes to $13 million per coin, as Saylor thinks 20 years from now, then Bitcoin treasury companies could hold $140 trillion worth of Bitcoin. And I think Strategy would be half of that, which would mean they would hold $70 trillion of Bitcoin, and that would make them the most valuable company in the history of the world by a huge margin. And this is problematic in many ways for like the purist cypherpunk version of Bitcoin. But I also think it's like an economic reality of this is how Bitcoin grows up and eats traditional finance.
Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.